What are tariffs? They're simple, really simple. They are taxes, just plain old taxes. These are taxes placed on goods that are coming into our country from other places, faraway places. Why do we even have them, you ask? It's straightforward: to protect American businesses, to protect American workers, our people. It's about putting our country, America, first and foremost. This isn't some complicated economic theory, it's basic common sense, something the elites in Washington seem to have forgotten for a very long time. Think about it this way, it's really not hard to understand. Other countries, they want to sell their products here, in America, and sometimes they don't play by the rules, they don't play fair. They use all sorts of tricks, government subsidies, currency manipulation. They undercut our prices unfairly. Our American businesses, honest businesses, simply can't compete with that. So what happens? Our people lose their jobs, good jobs. Tariffs help to level that tilted playing field. They make those foreign goods a little more expensive. So American-made goods finally have a fighting chance. This is absolutely vital for the survival of our nation. Some people in Washington, the ones who fly around in private jets, they don't seem to get this. They talk endlessly about free trade. It sounds nice, doesn't it? Free trade. So noble. But what if that so-called free trade really means that China wins and America loses? What if it means our factories, the backbone of our communities, are forced to shut down, one by one? What if it means our once thriving towns turn into ghost towns? That's not free for anyone here. That's a catastrophic disaster. Tariffs are a way for America to finally say no, no more. We will stand up and protect ourselves. President Trump understood this perfectly. He saw what was happening to our country. He saw the boarded up factories. He saw the forgotten men and women in our towns. He knew, deep down, that we needed a fundamental change in how we approach trade. Tariffs became a critical tool in his arsenal, a powerful tool indeed, to fight for American interests, to make America strong and prosperous once again. It's not about senselessly starting trade wars, as the fake news media would have you believe. It's about finally ending the silent economic war that was relentlessly waged against us for decades. Tariffs aren't just a defensive wall, you see. They're much more than that. They're a lever, a powerful point of influence. They are a way to get other countries, even the stubborn ones, to come to the negotiating table, to make them finally listen to what America needs and deserves. President Trump used tariffs like a master negotiator. He wasn't afraid to be tough. He wasn't afraid to stand his ground. He knew that sometimes in this world, you simply have to be tough to get what America, our country, rightfully deserves. It's about employing smart strategic thinking, not just reacting with blind anger or bowing to globalist pressure. Look at the situation with India, for instance, a clear example. They wanted a trade deal with the United States. Of course they did. But things were moving slowly, stagnating. Then, the credible threat of US tariffs appeared on the horizon. And suddenly, what happened? India proposed steep tariff cuts, as reported by Yahoo Finance. This was to meet a July 2024 deadline. Why the sudden change of heart? Why the new urgency? Leverage, pure and simple. Our tariffs, or even the serious threat of them, gave us that crucial leverage. They made India get serious about striking a fair and balanced deal. It's really that simple. The European Union provides another compelling case study. They were facing a threatened tariff from the US, and it was a significant one. Some initial reports even suggested a potential 50% tariff on many EU imports. So what did the bureaucrats in Brussels do? They rushed to the negotiating table. They scrambled. They agreed to fast-track vital trade talks on key sectors like automobiles and semiconductors. President Trump even wisely extended their deadline because the negotiations were finally showing new impetus. This clearly demonstrates that tariffs work. They get tangible results. They force action. And then, of course, there's China. We all know the story with China. For years, for decades, they've taken advantage of America, unfairly. The US government, under President Trump, finally put on tariffs. China retaliated, as expected. It was a tough period, no doubt. But what was the ultimate outcome? An agreement was reached. Most of the tariffs were suspended. A 10% levy remained on some specific goods. It's not just China either. Consider the United Kingdom. A 2024 agreement resulted in the US car import tax on many UK cars being reduced. In return, the UK opened its market more to US beef. This is how deals are truly made. As Indian officials correctly noted, Trump's consistent goal was always a very balanced outcome for both sides. Tariffs helped to achieve that crucial balance. For decade after decade, we just stood by and watched. We watched our jobs, good-paying American jobs, disappear, shipped overseas, sent to countries with incredibly cheap labor and virtually non-existent rules or regulations. Our factories, once the pride of our nation, began to rust and decay. Our communities, built around these industries, suffered immensely. Why did this happen? Because the globalist elites told us it was good for us. They told us it was progress. They were profoundly wrong. Tariffs are a powerful way to begin to reverse this destructive trend, to bring manufacturing back home, back to America where it belongs. How exactly do tariffs help achieve this? It's quite basic economics, really. When imported goods become more expensive due to tariffs, American-made goods suddenly become more competitive. They become more attractive to consumers. So what do people do? They start buying American products. Businesses see this shift in demand. They respond by investing in America. They build new factories right here or expand existing ones. They hire American workers. This is precisely how you rebuild a nation's manufacturing base. One factory, one job, one community at a time. President Trump understood this critical dynamic. He wasn't afraid to use tariffs to incentivize change. He even threatened a 25% tariff on Apple and Samsung if they didn't consider moving iPhone production to the US. What was the clear message? Build it here, create jobs here, invest in America. This is a core tenet of an America First economic agenda. It's about prioritizing our own country, our own workers, our own future. It's not selfish, it's sensible. This strategy isn't just about heavy industries like steel and automobiles, though those are vital to our national strength. The 25% import tax on foreign steel and aluminum became effective in March 2024. The 25% tariff on foreign-made cars was implemented from April 2, 2024. Later extended to engines and parts on May 3, 2024. But it goes further. There was even a proposed 100% tariff on foreign films announced on May 4, 2024. Why? To support the US movie industry. Our storytellers. It's about protecting American ingenuity and creativity in every single sector. So, trade, at its heart, is supposed to be a two-way street, a fair exchange. But for too long, for far too many Americans, it felt like a one-way highway, with jobs and wealth flowing straight out of America, and very little coming back in return. President Trump called it out directly. He spoke the truth. He said other countries were effectively cheaters, that they had pillaged our national wealth. Through decades of unfair trade practices and manipulation, tariffs are a potent tool to demand fair play, to stop the rampant cheating, to finally protect our precious economic sovereignty. These tariff policies, understandably, have a significant global impact. They send ripples around the world. Look at Japan. They are allocating a substantial $6.3 billion for an aid package to shield their economy from the impact of US tariffs. Other countries like Spain and Canada are reportedly preparing similar measures. What does this tell you? It shows that our actions have real power. They compel other nations to react, to reconsider their positions, and crucially, to renegotiate trade terms. The ultimate goal here is to foster a global trade system that is far more favorable to the United States. It's about rebalancing the scales of economic power. Tariffs also accomplish something very direct and tangible, something the media often ignores. They bring money directly into the US Treasury. That's right. Tariffs are a significant source of revenue for our government. This isn't some abstract economic theory cooked up in an ivory tower. It's real money, cold, hard cash. Money that can be used for many important things, to help reduce our staggering national debt, or to invest in rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure, or to support our brave military. It strengthens our nation financially from the inside out. A general 10% baseline tariff on imports from most countries, for example, was announced on April 2, 2024. Now, some people, the usual critics, will tell you that tariffs cause disruptions. They'll point to global stock markets wobbling, or the International Monetary Fund issuing dire warnings about global growth. And yes, it's true that there can be short-term adjustments as economies adapt. No one denies that. But we, as Americans, need to think long-term, about the future of America, about our children and grandchildren. Tariffs are not a magical cure-all. No single policy ever is. But they can be, and are, a smart, strategic component of protecting our country's vital interests. Our jobs, our businesses, our very way of life. It's about time we fought for ourselves, for America.